Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Nubia, the Crusader Kings 3 series here on the Lord Master channel, in which the next priority is to re-establish the Kingdom of Nobadia, but we need to level of fame up as our current amount of fame we have. Well, we're very close to it, and there's only one activity that I could do where we can get all that fame fairly quickly. And as well as, among other things, that I plan on doing once we form the kingdom, and that is, Coronation Ceremony, and then eventually we'll get married, as I am 33, and probably be around my mid-30s by the time I finally get married, with all the pomp and circumstance and all that. Otherwise, it would be Raphael that would take the reins, which he can be a good military leader, but I know better. Not to mention I control all these lands here and convert the faith as much as I like. But now, let's go on a pilgrimage to St. Catherine's Monastery. This will be a religious observance. By honoring God according to local customs, you can show your subjects that you understand their way of life. Especially helps the popular opinion. No need for mercenary guards, but do bring a desert warrior with you. I also would like to be Paragon Virtue in the future, so it would get additional piety in addition to prestige. But first things first, before you go anywhere, let me see. Engage in Nubian agriculture practices. Next year we can build another Christian religious building and donor portrait. Just this once. For the holding taxes, like while I'm away, I'd like to see the income go up. While I'm away. Sponsor the ongoing expedition. I mean, the expedition's ongoing, I forget which, but because I'm more focused on what we're going to do next. Roma. Prestige, prestige, prestige. Prestige is the name of the game. And once I return, I will be illustrious. Let's go. The famous St. Catherine's Monastery is spread around the world for multiple reasons. It's not only the oldest Christian monastery still in operation, it's also home to many sacred landmarks and fascinating sights, from the Well of Moses and the Burning Bush to the relics of St. Catherine. Little wonder that it has remained a popular place of pilgrimage to this day. I, too, am one of those pilgrims who seek to be spiritually inspired by spiritual glory. I'll brave the harsh and rugged deserts of Sinai and reach this great monastery one way or the other. My journey begins today, and what a journey it'll be. warm breeze caresses my neck as I wander through the orchards of Cairo. The trees stretch gently towards the sky, covered by a mixture of new shoots and fruits taking shape. Suddenly, a high-pitched shriek pierces the air. I quicken my step to only find a peasant child below a tree, in shambles and sobbing violently. It seems she has made an attempt at climbing the tree, before slipping and falling to the ground. One of the bone pipes protruding at a strange angle. There. Just wanted to have a good opinion on everybody. It'll take a while for everyone to get here. Not this for this old axe. Excellent. My trek across Sinai towards St. Quentin's Monastery reminded me of the episode from the Book of Exodus, when the Israelites, led by Moses, wandered the Sinai 40 years, subsisting on only quail and manna that God provided them. By comparison, whatever hardships I faced during my recent travels seem trivial. Still, I'm happy to have arrived at the monastery at long last. Just thinking about it, I know while I'm here, there'll be much to do, much to see, and much time spent in prayer. But first, let's find somewhere to rest for the night. Field taxes to me increased. Oh, I don't think he'll like that, now would he? A new day dawns, and I find myself waking up at St. Quentin's Monastery. How great it feels to be at this ancient sacred site, like thousands of other devoted Christian pilgrims over the centuries. There are many interesting things to see and experience at this holy place. For first, I plan to spend many days in prayer and worship of God. In spiritual reflection, perhaps after, I could spend time exploring and better understanding many facets of this monastery. I'll be better prepared for my first full day here. I've spent much time now at St. Quentin's Monastery, praying and worshipping God. While spending time in the monastery, there's one thing that's drawn my attention in particular, and it's just greatly inspired me more so than anything else. The Well of Moses. St. Catherine's Monastery encloses a well that's said to be the so-called Well of Moses, where he met his future wife, Zipporah, when he came to the land of the Midianites. Even today, the well serves as a source of water for the monastery. Truly, this is an old place, steeped in spirituality and history, and this history is one that predates even that of the monastery. This place is truly profound in many ways. After going on the pilgrimage to the monastery of St. Catherine in the Sinai, this character was greatly inspired by what they saw there. In particular, the Well of Moses. Piety a bit up monthly prestige from buildings that you have in your domain is plus 5%. And development growth up as well for the next 10 years. Now, as we said before, St. Catherine's Monastery in Sinai closes up the purported Well of Moses, where the biblical Moses said to have met his future wife, Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, the priest and prince of Midian. Even into the modern day, the well is the monastery's main source of water. Alas, my time here in St. Count's Monastery has come to an end, and as I must return to my normal life as Marquess. Still, I had quite the inspiring, thought-provoking, spiritual experience here at the monastery. Who knew one single remote location out in the middle of the desert could have so much religious history and lore? It is good that I could travel here while I'm still healthy and able, and I'll reflect on all that I've seen and done as I make my way home. Perhaps one day I might even return. 200 piety plus 75, 75 prestige plus 100. Engage with local religious practices for 10 years also. Lose a bit of stress, gain a bit of pilgrim experience, an additional 100 prestige, 41 legitimacy, development growth up in our capital, county, as well as the renown for our dynasty. Oh yeah. I'll be illustrious by the time I return. Let's move out. Journeying across the sands of Te. The caravan of laden camels crosses our path. The caravan master notices our entourage halts the procession. Noble travelers, he calls out his true gleam's eye. Perhaps you fancy a glance at the treasures these sturdy beasts carry? For the right price, the wonders of the desert could accompany you on your travels. Well, I have a lot of money to spend, so show me something unique. A true treasure. Nubian regalia. Didn't I already have one of those? Wow. Ooh, fertility up. I mean, this is just attraction and dynasty opinion for that. Same monthly prestige and piety, but plus 15 fertility. Then again, this thing that I originally bought was from Byzantium, made by a craftsman. But this one just bought from a merchant. So this is, I would rather take, because powerful vassal tax contribution gives me a bit more income. Very slight. Anyways. An opulent regalia of excellent craftsmanship. It consists of gold scepter with set pieces of ruby. Fine lamb's wool robes have been embroidered with gold, and a gold cross-bearing orb. Gold, gold, gold. Especially that we live in a land of gold. The procession's gone to a halt. The stone's throw at Kalajundi. I look over to see my knight Ghoul, dismounted and intently staring at something on the ground. The other entourage members have gathered around him. Ghoul looks observant. My lord, there's an ant path here. Maybe a tad superstitious, but you should never cross an ant path. My great-grandmother did, but she never returned home. Fine. We'll wait here. Paid 50 gold to me. This afternoon's quickly advancing nightfall as we enter the local farm estates of Kozlum. The estate owner, Tadalos, greets us warmly and promises to host a lavish feast for us. Once the feast starts, we dine on the variable menagerie of roast animals, stews, soups, bread, and the like. In the morning, Tadalos approaches me as I join my breakfast. My lord, hosting such an extravagant shindig yesterday can be expensive. You should pay me for the prestige I brought to your farm. So, but largely getting most of my money back from spending on the regalia, which is worth it, honestly. As we ride along the outskirts of Kos, I see a trail of caravan camels in the distance who meet their strange leader. Good evening to you, my friend. Come in, come in. I promise you what I have in my soul, like Egypt herself, from what they seem, he says, showing on this shiny trinkets before my eyes. You already got a preservative box, so I'm not particularly interested in betterment trinkets right now. Especially I'm about to do an act where we can reestablish the kingdom. I'll do it when I'm home. As you walk through the community, we're caught up in a crowd of people waiting for a large cart full of building materials to move out of the way. I don't need your stuff. I already got it cheaper somewhere else. One man shouted at the other. No one looks crestfallen but confused. What am I supposed to do with these then? He responds likely more to himself than anyone else. Well, don't we already have the building materials? That's ready. Yeah, we do. It's already got extra building materials. And we got nothing to build. Everything is upgraded. I don't see the point. So just move out of the way already. As my entourage and I navigate the expanse of Shikdo, a distinct silhouette of a camel farm comes into view. As Zini draws in, herd approaches. Welcome, honored guests, he beams. The camels of Shikdo will sustain us. Tonight we honor these noble beasts. Will you join us beneath the stars for a feast on tales of the desert? Unfortunately, I should say, I must heed the call of the journey and decline, as I am home. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on this very day, March 10th, 1010 AD, after 143 years since the game's start, Nobadia, which is a large duchy or a mark in this case that has largely ruled for all of lower Nubia and as well as parts of the eastern desert, including the Nubian desert, towards the coast of the Red Sea, which basically forms the frontier between Nubia and Egypt. And subsequently, that this great duchy, based on its size, its strength, and its wealth, it might as well be its own kingdom when you think about it, compared to Makuria, which has been weakened, at least on the inside. But when we break away from it, it'll be even weaker and perhaps vulnerable. Even though they already do have control of parts of Alodia, which are parts that don't really belong to Makuria, as its revolt is still ongoing. But no doubt the King Odanus IV will still have it. And now, it is time for Nobadia to once again stand alone as an independent kingdom, as it did under the mighty Soko. Under Coptic control, we will create a new, better Nobadia, under the guiding light of God. So we will re-establish the independent kingdom of Nobadia. You gain a heroic legend seat. You gain 60 prestige. You become independent. You get the title of Nobadia. And the king spends his prestige, gets an unpressed claim on us. And he doesn't like, he will lose 100 opinion for the next 50 years due to being a pretender. But first, before you even leave, claim the liege title. Higher level of fame than liege. So it's a reduced cost. Even though he is considered a friend of mine, but consider this as deterioration of relations between us. I mean, he still likes me no matter what. But what I'm about to do next may think otherwise. A new Coptic Nobadia. That costs 150 gold. Not to mention, some of that money's gonna subsequently go to, you know, that. Do it. With control of the rich lands in Nobadia, I've accumulated enough power to form a new kingdom, one that is sure to top the greatness of our southern Makurian neighbors. There is still work to be done, yet I have no doubt Historians will enshrine this moment as one of the great steps in the ascendancy of Nubia, under the protection of God. Let our enemies quake. And I gained a nickname, Lord of the Mountain. That's what they'll refer to me as. And of course, all the laws have been removed and been reset now that I'm the mighty king. Oh, yeah, that domain limit because you are king now, but we gotta wait for that feudal vassal thing to expire. I wouldn't worry about it since we're independent now. It'll probably take a few months for it to go away, so don't give away any land. So Nobadia is now your primary title. Which means it's like, yes, we do have a truce as we declared our independence. So we will have at least for 5 years. And this would also mean if I want to unite the Nubian thrones in this way, that means we gotta keep Egypt out of our affairs. Which to do that, the best way to do so is to I was about to say, where's the option to get a pact treaty with them? It doesn't say, other than, well, you know what to do. Except maybe a proposed trade. I mean, he can be reasoned with. Alright, well, be willing to spend all that amount of money just to get a truce between us. And I get all these nice little things from them, but it's gonna have to wait until we get this thing settled. But I'm 34 years old now, and now I'm crowned king. King Lazaros, Lord of the Mountain of Nobadia. And I am in very good health. Shakanda's court at Kogos. So, yes, you could change realm laws to your liking based on your traits. Like I desire these laws, but the powerful vassals would be willing to vote for these things here. But that'll be up to me, so it's optional. Even though that would require my powerful vassals to get in line. And also I could promote the Nubianization of church and state, which I would do that after we unite the Nubian lands. That would make sense. Provide Crusaderism is out of the question for now. But it does have its nice little benefits in some cases. Because now look, if I were to go Crusader, I would no doubt be controlling all these holy sites and then in future go up there. Nice it would look like. Oh, theirs is different. A dairy kingdom, that's how it is. Go for these at the least. much as I would like to spend prestige on that, but mind you, you just became independent. And you probably have no clue how much it costs if you were to start a war of any kind. But for now, just go for that. There's only one court artifact that we could put on display. The Cortana. Period of discord will continue. But we can only hope that he is somewhat weaker than you. I think he can be reasoned with. A truce for 25 years sounds like a great idea. As a way of telling Egypt to stay away from Nubian affairs. While I'll handle things down here. But not now. Not now. Now, it would be high time to do a coordination. Invite the great and powerful of the realm to witness your accession to the throne. This will forge the foundations for a long and successful rule. That's what we'll do. Now that I've become king, now see if I could properly be crowned as such. A stately ceremony shall prove the rightfulness of your rule, and the majesty of the realm shall be your sovereign investment. You can't do anointment as your highest held title is not greater or equal to empire, so you have to be empire rank to get that option. Look at this. These places. Traditional coronation location for further magnificence. But we got to do it here at the capital as it makes the most sense. Again, this is the first time I've done a coronation ceremony of any kind. I mean, I've attended but never held one. As this is first time in my recording and as well as me playing CK3. Anyways, there's the different intents. One is impress attendees. Shall be the very image of the sovereign, earning legitimacy, cultural acceptance, and magnificence. This tent pleases the courtly and minority vassals. Embrace supporters. Your regime will be built by the loyal, collaborating to gain prestige, form special relations to enrich your realms. This tent pleases supporters, especially glory hounds and zealot vassals. Weaken detractors. With your crown begins the downfall of claimants and the breaking of factions and confederations. This tent harms detractors and pleases non-detractor belligerent vassals. And exalt the crown. Reverence for your mandate and bells, coronation sites, artifacts and oaths of lasting benefices like renown. This tent pleases the parochial vassals. Let me check on the vassals. Like, what kind of vassals subjects do we have? 1 courtly, 1 parochial, 2 zealots, 1 minority, and 3 minor landholder. A bit of crown authority, turtle-like demeanor. Okay, look for the ones that are zealots and or minor landholders. That's who we're going to be pleasing here. Impress attendees. Alright, I already have the gems I need. But special relations gain prestige, which some of the prestige is going to be spent on war in future, so I'm going to go for embrace supporters here. And speaking of prestige, let me see. Use ceremony. Let's read them all from low to high. Simple rights. Decrease magnificence. Foreign rulers will not join the activity if magnificence is below 50 at the conclusion. You will gain crown and obscurity for 10 years. I'm already a sovereign, am I not? Why should all the films of this mere formality? It's the time-honored finery. The hollowed oaths of rule needs to be matched by regal surroundings and a vast vibrant gathering. Increased magnificence. Activity guests will be somewhat more likely to join. Now we have glory and splendor. Amidst hollowed relics and glittering jewels, suffused with futatious music, there shall be all of my kin, my vassals and prestigious guests from afar. That's one. If only they had a faith right there. It's too bad Egypt won't be there because, yeah, it expects not to arrive on time, but mainly because of opinion. Not even Blamia, which I consider them as an enemy of sorts. It seems it's likely only my vassals and those who do not join is because of energy and other personal reasons. Not even my cousin. Not even a physician. That's fine. Give it a physician, you do physician work. Anyways, for celebrations. Austere observances. Is an invitation to this historic occasion not enough for our pleasure? Decrease magnificence. If magnificence is below 50, in the conclusion you will gain spurn nobility for the next 10 years, which, of course, you wouldn't want to have that. Suitable revels. There will be little skipping on the great gathering of the nobility and a fine fare of the post-ceremony feast. Increase magnificence. Lavish banquets. Endless courses of sumptuous-smelling delicacies await magnificent delights to buttress the monarch's high table. That's what we're going to go for our first ever Coronation Ceremony. It'll cost you 216 gold. I know for a fact that this modifier will expire. Feudal vassal, then the economy will be back up and running again. Big time. Messages and servants have been sent out from Crusader for the coordination. Only as the last invitation goes out and the court begins the preparations, does it dawn on that I'm finally to be crowned King of Nobadia. While the coronation should be a joyous day for all, I must be careful. The days ahead may prove dangerous. Soon, my reign begins. 100 renown off the start. Remember that, this very day, on March 10th, 10/10. If only if it was the month of October, then it would be 10/10/10/10! Should have done that. The adventurers faced unexpected confrontations with rogue bandits. The skirmishers disrupted their exploration and diverted their attention from the primary goal. And because I went independent and I'm the strongest ruler around here, I'm now the culture head of the Nubians. I really don't care for this thing. Go for household soldiers. We'll get them in 5 years so that way we can beef up our size of the military. So that way we could be strong enough to take on the Egyptians in defense, knowing that their armies are bigger than ours. Speaking of Egypt, no back truce yet, but I'm obviously currently busy participating in my coordination, which you ain't going to be there for that. But I'll be sure to compliment you and present you some gifts in the future. And maybe perhaps befriend one another. A treaty of friendship between us one day. Between Egypt and Nobadia. Something to think about. Can't do no court events since we're going to be doing this instead. Shakanda wants independence. We shall see about that. Oops. Guests have come from near, from far, loyalty or curiosity. The crowd swells with faces marked by expectation, calculations, and in some cases the faintest warmth. I raise my voice just enough to settle the attendees and welcome them to my coronation. Welcome one and all. So these are my supporters: Countess Jimena of Ze, Dorico of Kalabsha, and Medea II of Alodia. While the major detractors include the mayor of Korosko and the mayor of Ikmini. But your mayors, who gives a damn? Before the coronation can proceed, I must decide who shall preside over the sacred rites. If I'm to secure the favor of the clergy, it would be wise to let one of their own oversee the ceremony, granting the sanctity and blessing that they can only provide. Yet a part of me wonders, would it not be a grander tale if I were to take up the crown with my own hands and declaring my right to rule before all without the intercession? Zealot, court. Minor landowner. He gets party prestige. Likes me well enough, so I'll say it's an honor that can only fall to me. I'll be the officier. I'll gain prestige, but lose the opinion of your court chaplain and zealot vassals based on your coronation's magnificence. That's all right. The flames on the fireplace dance in what looks like a round dance. The doors of my chambers opens abruptly and I hear a familiar voice calling my name. King Lazaros. My Chancellor Dorico starts. I know that the day is near where you'll look at your reflection and on the cold metal and wonder if you're doing the right thing. Let it be known, let it be screened at every corner of this keep, and I'll stand by your side. So produce a small gift from a pouch. I've commissioned this for you. Oh, wow. Reducing the men in arms maintenance, I always like that. An elegant brooch of masterful craftsmanship. It consists of sapphire cabochon mounted on a silver fastener. A gift from Countess Dorico to leave the coronation. This is more than I could ask for. This is nice and all, but clearly this one will work out. Oh, and the modifier expired. I leave my guests behind and enter the church. In a surge of quiet moment before the way of the crown dawns on me. The altar to God shines dimly, illuminated by a dozen candles. A fragrant silence fills the cold walls. To my right, the mirror of St. Matthew offers me a stern look. To the left, the texture that once was St. Samuel's fading slowly. His smile is almost imperceptible. I think our wolf is good. God, do not forsake Nobadia. Magnificence increases as you can see down there. Good king. I turn as to find Countess Jimena next to a nervous man. You know that I cherish you. It would bring me great joy to help you. Here I offer you the first and best of my men, Yosef, my well-accomplished caravan leader. May this serve as a sign of the friendship of our house. Feel as generous as you, Countess. Just gained a little bit of diplomacy lifestyle experience. I don't need him. Oh, good king. Hadata Badea bows for me. Her clothes neatly arranged. Your distant voice coming from the castle performing a delightful song. I offer you my unyielding loyalty and support. An alliance between us would be the greatest honors. An alliance to prevent factionalism. All petitioning guests lose opinion for the next 20 years. Even though they all like me well enough, so I think I'll be alright. I'll manage. I will not listen to sycophants. See? Injected. But don't worry, you will forgive. As the procession's about to begin, I overhear my vassal Tenassi and my chancellor Dorico arguing over who will lead the entry to the ceremony. Their squabble echoes through the antechamber. One insists on being the most perceptive, therefore the most deserving. Other claims should be the most modest. I'm definitely flattered. Come, let us discuss a solution. The occasion, while stately and proper, still feels incomplete. Is this just some road gathering, some casual feast, or is this a moment for a great political action, for historic change? My vassal, Arat, whispers my ear. Rulers are not made great by words, but by deeds. Deeds! Deeds that shake the kingdom to its foundation. My vassal Papin, who thinks nothing of this occasion, watches with contempt. Yeah, we once had a holy order, but for some reason it's gone. With a new order, I rally the faithful. The day will prepare the declaration of a new order. Coptic holy order founded. The Knights of the First Gospel. Yeah, there used to be the Knights of St. Anthony, but that disappeared for some reason. But now we have one again. Knights of the First Gospel, led by Grand Master Ashura Ismina. Countess Jimena, my spy master, greets me with bright eyes. What struck me most was the loyalty to your subjects. If you'd approve, I will ask my scribe to write a chronicle of this event, and their words will only be for your supporters, for their faithfulness and their unified strength. No, this passage should revere God. All preparations are complete. The great ceremonial assembly now awaits Casa Ibram's Castle. To cheers exaltation, my procession parts the city strong and crowned. My finest knights ride before me. My royal household behind, horns ring out, banners stream forth in bold Nobadian colors. Peasants praise the king, and women weep in ecstasy at this glorious parade. As a calm man, I say I am the very image of a great king. 20 prestige. The county gets awed by a wondrous coronation for the next 10 years. The spirits of the local commoners have been fired. They are fanatically devoted to their liege, so this ups the fort level, garrison size, reduction of the development decline, and popular opinion of plus 40. This has happened due to your coronation's very high magnificence. This modifier is removed if you lose Veteran. If Veteran is stolen while this modifier exists, it will gain a negative modifier. Increased notably. It's been improved by your Glory and Splendor activity option. Past the castle gate, my royal procession wends its way to a holy altar of waiting officiants. The nobility, the clergy, and I solemnly take up our places amidst the soul-stirring rise and fall of sacred prayers. Now the right of the bishop's petitions are revered by these intercessors of the divine, and it is with worshipful deference that they beseech. Great King, please safeguard the faithful and preserve the rights of God's clergy. I shall defend Christ's holy church. 50. Piety. Approved by court champion, head of faith opinion, traits that are pious, and my level devotion. No detractors here now. The vassals of Nobadia have come forth to give their allegiance, one after another, raising open-palmed hands, one after another bending them to give kisses of fealty. I have yet to even properly become king, but there is devotion to these supplications to move any heart. The great voices of the realm quiver with feeling, and their faces glow with hope. I say, these are my vassals, the bulwarks of my rule. I've gained a little more prestige. Prestige approved by Embrace supporters 10 and approved by said supporters. The senior figures among Crusader's peasants are next to shuffle forward. Givers of their common assent of my great power and authority. The bishop warns that they stoop the elders and asks if they will accept me as rightful king. As they voice the words, another sound meets my ears. Beyond the church, the waiting crowds crowd in joyful anticipation. Hundreds of people call my name again and again. Lazarus, Lazarus, Lazarus in Nobadia. I am on it. Legitimacy improved by popular opinion in favor. Carried forth in solemnity, icons of Nobadian rule, and the crown I am to bear are steeped in prayerful blessings. The priests prepare my finery of ritual motions and invocation to St. Peter, key-bearer of the heavenly kingdom. With this ceremony, is my beloved Rita's crown to be endowed forever in Nobadia? Rita's crown will be inherited at Nobadia. Remember, this is the crown that has of excellent craftsmanship, forged from electrum and adorned with intricate filigree. A tiny but elegant description runs on the side, dedicated to my beloved Christina. So now, this becomes the crown of Nobadia. I love that the other benefit being mineralized maintenance reduction, and now I have another artifact that further reduces its maintenance. Thus we can afford larger armies. O Rita's crown, O glory of glories! The final sacrament draws near. First I must be ordained by holy oil, charged as leader of God's faithful, as one above the common flock. Mena, the shepherd of Nobadia, marks me with a pungent golden oil on my outstretched hands, my head, my breast, my shoulders, and the bends of my arms. This anointment is given unto prophets, priests, and monarchs. My skin shines with the very approval of God. Given his humble cutter, he set by him in his hand. I know God's favor. I must express my gratitude to the prelate. Some would call it shameless pride for a king to lift the crown high and place it upon his own brow, and in doing so proclaim himself among God's chosen monarchs on earth. Yet those few doubting priests are singing out readily, and gazing on in awe as I begin to write, gripping the cross-bearing diadem in my fingers, reciting, Lord God, you are above all kings. To your dominion belong all realms of heaven and earth. And so forth, I crown myself master of Nobadia. With slow, grim steps, I approach my waiting throne. It is no small thing to become a king. It's too late to turn back, I suppose. Now you are crowned sovereign. The assembly watch me, some with hope, some with doubt, all waiting for me to speak of my reign and swear to the future. I can hear the questions they don't speak. Will I be just? Will I be fair? How would I govern as first king of these lands? I do not stand here as king to echo their expectations. I come to choose my own path and a way forward for the kingdom. Whatever Nobadia becomes, whatever I'll become, begins with this very moment. There's a lot where you can choose from. Expand the realm, shape the realm, foster enlightenment, greatest honor, install claimants, or no oath. That's up to you, my friend. Couldn't help but notice that there's a sponsor here. Wants to make a sculpture. Decent skill. Why not? We do need more core artifacts in here. Make me a sculpture. We do have an antiquarian. Yes. See with lost trace artifacts. Search for rare artifacts. Put more money towards that. Search for rare artifacts. And if you need to build things, you get a raw architect. You also have high honor. God, there's so many core positions which I'll have to sort all this out in the future. Oh, and by the way, get the aptitude up for everybody. Let's continue. So, you know, I do have an intent where I did say that I would like to conquer Makuria and Alodia, and subsequent all these other lands to as I'm nodding my head, to unite the Nubian thrones. Expand the realm would be one way to do it. Swear an oath to conquer new lands for the people of Nobadia. So to do that, the realm needs to be at least 17, currently at 12. Needs to be completed within 20 years. We can do that. Choose between a boon to the capital and nature shifting land, legitimacy, prestige, and the modifier of expanded realm. And every attending neighboring ruler will not like that, as they would be feel threatened by it. But first, the ceremony has passed and the crown rests where it was meant to. I rise once more, not to command, but to offer what comes next. My friends, the rites are complete. Let the tables be filled, let the cups be raised, and let this hall remember joy as well as duty. It earns a murmur of approval, maybe even something close to warmth. But now, at least, everyone has something in front of them other than me. With that aside, it is time to celebrate. 2. Lately, my efforts to impress the fallen flag. My friendship with Kajaba is still standing on shaky ground. It's a mess. However, I got a brilliant idea. I'll have my beneficiary, Tariku, add a dedication to the masterpiece he's making. The flattered dedicatee will be deeply touched by my generosity, since will have no choice but to like me more. I'll find other ways to impress whomever I want. King Lazaros, my Quade's Duke, Pietro calls my name. My dear best friend, Nobadian speaks to you fondly, he proudly says, while taking a sip of wine. I've been looking forward to feasting with you. You're from, Shamir, right? Let's toast, Jordanus, and to the Dota will become a friend of mine within Makuria. You'll be useful someday. What started as ordinary feast became an exceptional one thanks to the presence of Mayor Papin. We spoke all evening about all manner of subjects, and as things are, we seem to have a lot in common. I had such a good time with it. What a good evening. The nobility began a carefully choreographed round dance, bearing symbolic props as they act out scenes of my dynasty's rise, triumphs, and aspirations. All eyes turned toward the central figure of the spectacle. My Archiepiscopus, used to be Episcopus, but it's Archiepiscopus, Minna, takes the role of the lauded ancestor, drawing applause with an impassioned recitation of my lineage's might. The message is clear. My right to rule is a legacy carried with pride. Now look, he's a bit of an imbecile, that's why he's dancing like that. How can he be a strategic board gamer if he's like that? So I'll just smile warmly and share with the joy. What was that? Independence faction going. I glance at my stalwart allies, my impressive Archiepiscopus Minna, whose valor when I was highlighted at the dance on King Lazarus' coronation was undeniable. And my thoughtful vassal, Tanina, who stood by my side when I developed romantic feelings for King Lazarus. Their faces glow with anticipation, for they know that their loyalty has carried me here. How can I enjoy such fidelity without taking an opportunity to repay? Let's see. Do I really need? Both are equally deserving. A Carolina roasted goose is delightful, but the stories to tell are even better. F.A. Marcos are timid, the nobleman from Cordisco Road, and my vassal, and I have spent hours trading tales of our greatest hunts. Enough, shouts F.A. Marcos. You're in our crowd. You can call a hunt after the feast. We shall make it special for our new king. Aye, a hunt or a king. The king's hunt. Well, don't take it out of context, man. What if we falconed instead? And you two shall supply the birds, of course. Your next falconry type hunt will not cost any gold. That sounds like an idea. Been there, done that. At last the cake arrives, towering, glorious, the crown jewel of the feast. Wary but proud, cook spent the night laying comfit and lemon, each layer set with asta. Something inside rests a tiny token which I hid myself. Harada bedeo vade amor triumphantly withdraws the token from the rich layers of cake. Her joys such she almost claps my roll back. The whole bursts into applause. Lowest supporter, touched by fortune, is favored too by the crown. There, accept your prize. I've worked tirelessly to promote the glory, the foster grandness of my coronation. The guests are flushed with the inspiration of what they've witnessed here, radiating admiration. It was a fitting start for my reign as a king. Every chance I had, my favorite that was most loyal to me, to my crown. Together my supporters plotted and planned, and vaunted the credentials of one another. Count Historico of Kalabsha, Medhanasia Korusko, and others have become my inner circle. Their trust could be something more than substantial. This is supporters of what they would be affected by. Lands loyal to the crown shall flourish. Give them development. They deserve it, just like with my domain. My magnificent coronation is finished, the guests depart, all deeply moved by the ceremonies. My reign begins. You gotta expand the realm. I'm a crown sovereign. Gained supported coronation for 20 years. 1,000 prestige. Legitimacy levels now ordained. And all other things. Clean development role. As I've said. Whew! That was excellent. Finished it on the 12th of September. But one day later. Okay. Like on earth would you do that? Oh, he's going to the university. House of Wisdom. That's where he's going. He'll be well educated there. At least we hope. I'm reminded. As long as you have the title of Nobadia. Or, it's like at least one of these. Is one of these. Any barony. As long as it's within Nubia's northern frontier. Which is, you know, all these areas. Or the frontier kingdom of Lower Nubia, which is Nobadia. Adopt higher crown authority. Nubianization innovation. Courtiers gets flourishing culture for the next 150 years. When you do that, that would be excellent to have. And no, I don't have a legend seat, despite this. Although it would be proper that you can get it through this. And you get absolute crown authority. All you have to do is just completely control these two titles and its de jure areas. Then you got it. And then you get more innovations. So we got a long way to go. And if you wish, you can establish a feudal elective. Which I don't really recall if any of the Nubian kingdoms ever practiced feudal monarchy. Elective monarchy. I think they just did primogeniture, at the least, as far as my knowledge of Nubian history is concerned. Almost there. Again, in few years' time, we get this. And the next innovation I want to get is royal prerogative, so we can have the crown authorities. And that won't take too long. I'll be around by then. And then after that, switch to bailiffs for additional building slots before I will go for manorialism to get all these economic buildings upgraded. And of course, to have them upgraded, we got to get battlements, which they'll also come by in 15 years. And lowering minimum saints. So the timing is better for all this. We're entering into a new era here in Nubian history at this point. But we just got to wait 5 years till these truces expire, then we'll go on the offensive. We have so much prestige we can declare all kinds of wars. All I have to do is just keep Egypt away from us. Whenever Sultan Abram is available to ask, well, and if you're going to be doing bark exchanges, well, you could still do that. It's just we weren't able to do one directly with them in order to keep the peace between us. But at least there are ways. Unless I offer them hostage. Like, look what it would look like in theory. I mean, he doesn't have children of his own, but he's got wives, plenty of them. So wait a couple of years, and then when I have children of my own, I'd be willing to send them over there, and then you give me one of yours, if we have good relations between us. Because Nobadia alone cannot defeat Egypt. Even though we may look strong militarily, but it still has room for improvement. But at least we do have a holy order to reinforce us during times of crisis. And we can expand our military further, but before we can even expand it further, we need to improve the economy, which takes a long time to get by. You got that? Alright. Now, the next part of the plan is, spending all this great wealth. Like first with the Coronation Ceremony. Now I wanted to have a grand wedding. At this point in my life, as I'm going to be turning 35, I would like to get married this soon. And I found just someone suitable based on its relevance. I mean, yeah, I have a bit of alliance with the chiefdom of Kordofan. I mean, that's one thing. But those claims, including Kordofan itself, which is that area over there, especially this is part of the turbulent Darfur region, as it's been the case both then and now. So I'll be marrying this person, which is the regent of Chieftain Akkad. There's a Nuba culture, she's a Nuba culture, Kordofanian language. Although she's an incompetent regent. Well, I think it's about time you get yourself a new lease on life here. Even though you are a strong woman, though not inheritable, but still. She's someone that I would like to have, which is for political reasons. Not to mention with all these claims, even though I do have an alliance with them, then, well, it's something that my children have, and then we'll be willing to push that claim once I get Makuria, and especially in parts of Alodia that's not yet under control. So this will be a grand wedding to be held. We'll hear back from them. And maybe perhaps this alliance, like when I have both titles, and if we're strong enough to make them fear of our military might, then maybe perhaps they'll would join you. And mind you, they're not Coptic. They're this sort of Crusader, which you feel them as righteous, as we share the same Pope. Pope of Alexandria. We'll hear from them soon enough. I'll gladly accept your patrol proposal. You will be joined with my aunt, Akodat, in holy matrimony. May God grant you long life and many children. I also look forward to the promised grand wedding. Try not to disappoint me. Excellent. We'll do that right away. A grandiose celebration union of a couple. However, this is not just a wedding ceremony. It's a public show of influence and a social event where the nobility gathered to practice the arts of diplomacy, seduction, and murder, or to share a drink with friends. So, it's even more prestige gain and legitimacy gain, as my legitimacy is at the max. I may gain all these great modifiers here. Spare no expense with this. Take your pick of these places, but it only makes the most sense where it's going to be here at the capital, which can lead to some gold gain between us. For entertainment, this is the lowest. Home entertainment. Entertainers present at court on a daily basis, like jesters and jugglers, will attend the wedding. Middle. Acrobats and musicians. The stable performers respect any court. Parochial and zealot vassals will gain more opinion of you. Average prestige gain. Troubadour and exotic fiends. Only the finest performers and the rarest beasts. Eager reveler trade experience up. Glory Hound and Courtier vassals will gain more food. Increased prestige gain. Don't I already have the Eager reveler trait somewhere? Oh yes, I do. One sec. Damn. I made him. Thank you. Now for food and drinks. The lowest level is a modest feast. A feast which matches expectations with nothing to be remembered. Decreased opinion, you don't want that. Generous feast. Average opinion of the gain all attending characters. Parochial zealot vassal will gain more benefit. An appropriate banquet that will please all guests. Gargantuan meal. The tables will groan under the weight of all this food. Bonus stress loss, increase health bonuses. Glory Hound and Courtier vassals will gain more benefit. That's what I want from these guys. And for wedding venue, wildflowers. A pretty decoration of freshly picked flowers and a modest crew of cooks and service. Eager revel trade experience with decreased opinion with the coordinate ones. Garlands and torches. Traditional decorations and enough servants to not leave any goblet empty. Parochial zealot vassal will gain more opinion here. Average opinion gain with your courtly vassals. Gain gracious host, but we can do better. Silver and gold. Increased opinion gain with your courtly vassals. Renown and prestige. Glory Hound and Courtier vassals gain more opinion than being magnificent host. An unapologetic display of boundless riches and did enough servants for each guest to have their own personal cupbearer. As I said, spare no expense. Yes, even the old damn Pope will come. Get his infirm ass over here. Huh. The Caliph won't be around. Or the Malik al-Mazam, the Armenian. Oh, really? The Sultan. Oh, you're Sultan now. Oblemia. So he's a Muslim now. Which means you can have a dialogue with him and we'll see him there. And one of his successors are also Muslims, so they finally abandoned the old gods in favor of Islam. Very well then. As long as you keep Egypt away. Diplomacy as in potential. But an alliance with Blemia would be a temporary thing. But they do hold parts of the Nubian lands that I intend to liberate. So I don't want to have that. Matchmaking. Shakanda, Tapara, and cousins, but you, my brother, You once had a child who died from being sickly. Hopefully we'll find someone for you. Do it. This would take a while for everyone to come over. And boy, we spent a lot. And there's some damn corruption being rampant over here. Doesn't help that the income is havoc by a very low flood. But they're predicting a low flood for this. It'll be a while before we hear from them. I'm prepared to take to bed for the night when a serry page courses through my foot. On examination, I find miniature sculpture is embedded in the flesh of my soul, with its own feet sticking out. If a beneficiary Tariku looks sheepishly at me from the nearest doorway. I apologize. That is the prototype of your latest commission. I must have dropped it. Ah! The physician should see to this. 99% chance to get rid of wounded, 4% chance nothing happens. Miniature safely extracted. Aggravated my wound. I mean, the wound is gone, but the aggravated part remains. Average trade power. Steady economic changes. That I like to hear. She'll be here at the 25th of December. Negotiating alliance with Kogos. Well, of course, dear brother. Due to various recent changes in the political, economic, and cultural landscape, Egypt and Nubia are approaching a continued period of discord. Leaders in both regions are less willing to uphold the stipulations of the Bach Treaty that the rulers of Egypt and Nubia have agreed to long ago. Conflict and disagreement are ever more likely, and there is worry that even the life-giving waters of the Nile will not do enough to nourish the land and its people if there are hardships. Long-term effects of these trends remain yet to be seen. The Bach Treaty has survived this long and will surely continue to endure. The Nile is internal, but its people are always changing. Sure. I'll reward you, hopefully. She's in Korosco Road. You have arrived. Blow now flood as predicted. At least the economy would improve slightly. Oh, what the hell? My liege explorers and adventurers in your employ faced misfortune during their expeditions. Uncharted territories yielded little, and resources and artifacts discovered were minimal. Damn! It feels amazing when you've been planning for something for so long and spent so much money on it when it's finally there. Everything is ready. The decorations are in place, guests are mingling, and servants scurry around with loaded dishes. I'm pacing around in excitement and nervousness when my future spouse, Akodat, appears, arrayed in her finest attire. We are ready to begin. I can't wait. Side dynasty is on far and wide. Sultan Angrun offered the expects of the Hadariba. As it says. Everyone is excited in amazement by the magnificence of the wedding venue. Everyone but Minna. Since his arrival, Minna's been proudly searching for any pretext. Are you wearing makeup? Those colorful heels are sinful. What is all this unchaste mingling? There's all this show of luxury and lust. Well, I'm a chaste man myself, so I'll say I am ashamed of myself. I mean, I have been carrying away on spendings and all that. Religious plate for the county of Abu Hamad. A group of religious men requested an audience of me one day to ask for some domain land in the county of Abu Hamad in order to build a small monastery there. While the gold ask is significant, my piety is on the line regarding my answer. Yes, please do. The gold is yours. Pray for my soul. You'll be pleased with this. Because all that gold is going somewhere. Why don't you serve as courtier? You might be useful for something. The ceremony went on in a blur. I could barely remember all the steps, rituals, and blessings we went on through. Now it's time for our vows. The formal consent, the actual seal on the marriage. Do I want to spend the rest of my life with Akadat? I do. I marry Akadat Kordofan of the Nuba culture. So, we gain piety, as we're both Christians. County Frame ruler's grand wedding for the next 10 years. Dynasty Sai gains 150 renown. Dynasty Kordofan 75 renown. The Sultan from Blemia actually gave gold to me. It feels like a whole eternity has passed since the ceremony began, but now I'm finally free. I really look forward to the most interesting part of the day, the banquet. Of course, I gain a spouse out of the whole ordeal, but I'll have time to think about it when the feast will have put on a proper smile on my face. For now, let's celebrate. Enjoy. Oh, I forgot you were Lombard culture and you changed it back to Nubian. Finally. My stewardship astonishes guests. Peasant rabble and rebellious lost causes. Oh, it'll go away with time. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Wants to forge something wondrous. Go ahead. Thank you for funding this endeavor, my lord. My adversary, Agatha, tries to keep her composure, but I could see the excitement in her eyes. I can work the metal into wonders. Perhaps you have any wishes? How about an exquisite goblet? Need more court artifacts. Master, you're right, you are. Everyone's in good spirits. On my left, a group of children is hypnotized by the jugglers. On my right, poets declaim their latest compositions to an adoring crowd. However, the whole banquet falls silent when a crew of dancers bearing torches make their way to the center of the venue, inviting guests to join them along the way. The view is breathtaking in the low lights of the early evening. Torches light up their smiling faces against the darkening sky. They cast interwoven patterns into their shadows. It looks all amazing until Stefano trips, knocks a torch from a neighbor's hand, and sets his own clothes aflame. Stefano, my cousin. I must do something. 85% chance that I'll save him the flames and then get a weak hook on him. 14% chance that I get burned. Ah! I saved his skin. Whatever's left of it. Hang on. Okay. The hired expeditioners have returned from their journey, and they await your presence to deliver a comprehensive report on discoveries and accomplishments made about. Contracts now ended, no further payments can be. You can sponsor another expedition if you want. We'll talk about it after the grand wedding. I know I should be spending time with my new wife, Akadad, and her family, but I just can't tear myself away from my friend Aladdin. I could see Queen Akadad staring to glare at me, but every time I try to excuse myself, Aladdin has me howling and laughter all over again. Well, diplomacy is at my lowest. My best friend who is a Turk, and who goes Turk. So, I'll say, let's sneak out so we can talk properly. Confider trait. Lowers my prestige gain monthly, but having +1 diplomacy don't hurt. The feast has started winding down, with everyone seated and tired, but the day is not over for Akadad and me. A procession of guests leads to our bedchambers for the legitimacy of the wedding depends on it being consummated. It's time. I don't mind you, I'm a chaste man. Sultan Angrun gives me another 20 gold. When finally the last of the guests leaves, I look around the deserted venue. The food left over is the spilled violet shaba on the floor. The echoes of people's laughter still linger in the air, and feel satisfied. What an amazing day. I did a very fine job organizing. Thank you all for coming. Prestige, renown. Gain some gold up front, since you held it here. Gavel. Additional monthly prestige and renown. This is one to remember. Yes. Hey, why aren't you wearing that crown? Put that on, you fool. Right. Now that everyone is present and accounted for, let's hold the court so we can have a bit more court grandeur. Get it up to its level. God damn it. Oh, and by the way, I like the idea of a diplomatic court, but I should turn to a warlike court, given that I made a vow and will be expansionists. Not to mention, helps the the gain. So after, I get all these things here, it's likely that I will switch to more martial lifestyle. Given where we are. Especially when we go on the offensive. So it's possible I'll be going to that lifestyle soon. But first, now that I'm properly crowned king, let us hold a court. In order to be a successful ruler, I must actually rule on the various dilemmas and situations which arise within my sphere of influence. By officially inviting all my subjects to travel my castle and petition me for aid, I will be able to stay informed, sway the balance of power, and visibly show the world that I'm in charge. So increase my court grandeur, your legitimacy. You'll invite guests and subjects to petition you for assistance. Might learn of exclusive opportunities. Might be able to influence situations in foreign realms. You might gain additional court grandeur. You might gain or lose opinion, prestige, gold, and more. And all that good crap. Let's hear it. Sitting on my throne, I gesture for my guards to open the doors of the hall. A stream of people file in, some lining up in front of my throne while others move out of the way so they could simply observe the proceedings. After several moments, all movement in the chamber has ceased. All faces turn towards mine expectantly. In front of me, I count 3 petitioners lined up in an orderly row, waiting for me to call on them. Gesture for the first line to approach. My lord, I represent the religious community of Serra. While rummaging through our modest archive, we come across a very peculiar book. The cover was dusty, the binding fragile, the pages were yellowed by time, but it contained the most unusual drawings, and the script itself was unknown to us all. We are certain it's unique in the world, a long-lost vault of knowledge, a true treasure. That's why we offer it to you. Perhaps the original copy to the will of God, or it's a memoir from the world's creation. You know, given where we are in Nubia, it could be old ancient Egyptian writing for all I care. That nobody knows how to read. Let me have a look at it right now. 66% chance it's a nice manuscript but nothing special. 33% chance it's a badly crafted fake. Let me get a look at it. This book's a badly crafted forgery, worthless and useless. You gain 6 prestige when my learning increases. My lord, I represent the Bedouin people of the County of Aleki, states my courtier Layla. We are devoted, faithful subjects, but our land is poor, underdeveloped, and scarcely populated. Please allow us to resettle it and administer it according to our traditions. Under your benevolent protection, the land can still prosper. You shall gain a new faithful vassal. I know what's best for the county. My spy master, Countess Jimena, approaches the throne of a young man. My liege and king, my cousin, Marian Code has sized 60 honors serving in the retinue of knights, given the opportunity to prove his quality. Pulling me aside, Jimena, he is not renowned with the blade, but his enthusiasm should fill the breach. You are young. Now listen, you're good to me, so I'll say to take on him, I need to get a return. Get a hook on her. I may need it for whatever I may need. As the last of the petitioner departs, various courtiers follow them on the room, having business to attend elsewhere. Others remain, talking amongst themselves about the recent proceedings. Soon the ceremonial formality of the proceedings is dropped away entirely, with the hum and bustle of normal courtly life taking its place. Business here is done. Yes. Now your property here. Right, now that you're clean. Proactive bureaucrat, snake-like demeanor, indifferent observer, and strong. Alright, the Nuba culture of hers, they get to have shield maintenance, if any. Though it would be a rare sight. The strong trait is more common, that's why she has a passionate athletes. The severe activity. So that's what they also have. Something we could learn from them one day, but we're so much different from them. But at least they're Christianized. Okay. Oh yeah, we said about a free hunt, right? cannot be hosted in the next 20 months. Fair enough. So there you go, independent Nobadia. The Sultan is in Baghdad for the House of Wisdom for further education. And all we have to do is wait for the truces to expire. Daughter marries Kuda. Yes. Go ahead. Marries Patrol. Yes, I do have a truce with him. Which will expire in 4 years' time. That didn't take long. Pregnant my wife. Perhaps it was during the consummation of the marriage thing. Though there was no evidence of that. But it happened. Just accumulate your wealth, save your money for whatever you would like to do. Monument expedition, but that tends to be a little expensive. I spot my wife, Akadat, chatter excitedly to Agatha, listing ideas, suggestions for a goblet. My metalsmith's barely concealing her contempt, clearly annoyed at my spouse's interference. And as you're forging a goblet, she goes on, it may as well match my grandmother's old goblet. Part of Agatha's soul seems to be down. They had goblets down there? Don't be so damn ignorant. Come, darling, leave it to the expert. Having a monument expedition is just another good excuse to get me to travel somewhere. Mene. I have arrived at Crusader to pay homage to you, glorious king, as a show of my fealty. Hope for my pledge of submission alone as evidence of mine. Sure. I will wait patiently on my throne for your arrival, Countess Amina. It was soon announced and ushered before me. She kneels in deference, offer nothing but her oath to faithfully serve as a vassal of the kingdom. At last, as I bid the Countess arise, confirm my satisfaction, and with his rights to the land she rules in my stead. Serve me well, Countess. Okay, he's done it. Studied the Sudanic language for many months. I found this mischief. He used the Sudanic script, a lot of friendship from speaker of Coptic. I wish future diplomatic dealings bring benefit from this script. It's not Sudanic? Impressive. Send my regards. He doesn't have the money to make an exchange, but I'm willing to give him money. With a confidence flutter, I reflexively clear my airway. The evening's meal is lovely, but perhaps too lovely, as I choke it down a little too fast. Calm, I urge myself. There's no call to rush, for I'm a calm person. Just really enjoying the food, lady. It's a harmless delight. After all, I am a reveler. My lord, a beneficiary Tariq goes gestimate over an object covered in fabric with a wide grin on his face. I told many days and nights, and my work is finally done. He whips off the covering, and my eyes grow wide as I see what's in beneath. An elegant statue of King Lazaros, painted and excellently carved. The king is famous over his enlightened reign over Nobadia. The ochre of the sculpture is excellently worked. A sturdy statue. It's an elegant statue of an animal, to be exact, painted and excellently carved. Its mythical qualities are the creature interpreted as an allegory for King for the king and as a light rule over Nobadia. The Ogre sculptures excellently worked. Who got it? Oh man, I'm also ill. Put that over there. Have a look. The statue of this bird. What is that? What kind of bird is that? I'll let people. Thanks. Yes. Hopefully we can go back to accord. Should that day ever come. But please remember of the effects when you do such things. I'll just play it safe, I think. How much does it cost again to sponsor another expedition? 100. Let me see. Every coast county you own, as in over there. I could invest in that, yeah. The authorized sales. The pirates who work with should sell their spoils to boost the local economy there. Cheaper. That's holding construction costs, not building construction costs. That's the difference. We could do that there. Especially the developments needed. Go ahead. There are a group of pirates active in the Indian Ocean who I have connections with, but who agreed not to target my territories, but to help me with shared mutual interests. These pirates have been productive as of late, acquiring a good amount of booty, whether it's slaves, gold, weapons, food, precious iron, and more. They have requested I permit them to sell these goods in my realm's ports. How could I refuse such an offer? This will boost the local economy there. Damn. I say damn because of the amount of cost it is over there. My beneficiary, I get this, just that the funds I supply with are not enough to create an artifact worthy of my stature. With just a bit more gold, I could create something truly magnificent. Whatever you need. We'll be out of debt very soon. Nothing to worry about. I was going to do that little now board administration, but that's going to wait a little. As is with the hunt, which is going to be for free when we go falconing. Which is something I don't usually do because that stuff's usually expensive. Unless you have a certain cultural tradition. What? Oh, speaking of them. My master of the hunt, Nicodemus, brings word of beasts spotted in my room. I heard much talk from that dove. It said there are excellent prospects for hunting thereabouts. Medicine worry a bastard seen roaming a desert. Excellent. So, in 14 months' time, we'll go do that. Eek. Beneficiary approaches me with thoughtful expressions. Is there anyone special in my lord? She must have read my irritation. With such a personal question on my face. Because I mean, is there anyone you wish to dedicate your commissioned artifact to? It's turning out well, but a meaningful inscription would make it feel even more personal. Only the Lord guides me. I say that because I'm humble and virtuous. Save a little more. Don't fund any expeditions yet. I'm saving that for the hunt. Praise Saint Marina. Agadad's given birth to a perfect little son. One day, child, you will carry on my legacy. But what name would befit a king? Have our own Udanis. Can you imagine Udanis the 5th or 6th or whatever when I take over Korea? And again, he may potentially be a smart child. Think of a good Christian sounding name. Christian sounding or Greek name? Moses. Yeah. I guess that's the spelling of Moses. Yeah. Keep thinking. Christophoros sounds simple. But I'm looking. Basil. Basil, like Basilius. Like Greek title for emperor up in Byzantium. That sounds excellent. That name carries strength. One can only hope. Oh, damn pirates. All my money. Gone. You bastards. We ought to do something about that. I'm standing outside and I feel a gentle breeze against my face. So refreshing, so relaxing. Moments like these will make life worth living. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Trade policies, but that requires spending money. Damn it! Everything costs money. Souvenirs aplenty. More diplomatic range is always nice. Reduce the cost of activity options. Also sounds nice. Reduced travel option cost. But my interest now is to go on a hunt. Get more prestige. I'll be as prestigious as ever so that we can use it for Klamath Wars when the truces expire. Remember, you're no longer the Marquis anymore. You're king. You are in your own destiny. My friend, I didn't stop saying the Hall of Being song. Ah, there you are, Lazaros. I just spoke to Agatha. There's forging a goblet for you. I couldn't resist the visit to her shop. I talked to her how to meet your expectations, and I think you'll like the results. Will be of lower quality. You goof! The rain's been drumming against the window since dawn. Turning the world outside in blurred gray and green. Days like these are made for coming up with a good book and drowsily dreaming the day away with my head in a world of words and wonder. I walk over to my personal collection of books and decide which one to lose myself in. Read tales of legendary battles. Which one day those said legendary battles will come. Process routine paperwork. You can't send reports disappears anymore as you're an independent. You're king now. Alright, let's see what this document says this time. This slave of a lofty, the most glorious and magnificent presence of the Lord of the Mountain kisses the ground before him and reports him that your letter has arrived, and I read it, and I understood what's in it. Yeah, we've seen this kind before from a earlier episode. Trust me, I remember. This is ridiculous. Arcadia's protest. As keeper of the king's personal collection, I have a responsibility to ensure the quality of your work. You'll see once it's finished, Sagador. Should leave a woman to her work, and she's forging a goblet fit for royalty. Because would show its quality. Will be of higher quality. Hope so. It says will be, not could be or would be, but will be. Stop right there. Sultan's coronation. Normally I'm never invited to such things, but yeah, you've been giving me money. It takes a king to know a king, you know, but I'm less than interested right now of going over there. But it does give me an excuse to, I don't know, gain some experience to travel somewhere. And I don't think I've ever been to your capital before. Yeah, visit all these places. Yeah, there's more rewards to these. And then I get to visit my home. I'll gain more nice lifestyle experience out of this. You know what? Sure, but first, we're actually going to do that in the next episode because I believe it's gone long. And we spent a great deal of time, the coronation ceremony, the grand wedding, and all that and more. Because, let me tell you people, in the next episode, after this coronation ceremonies, I do a bit of traveling. As I was happy enough to do a little, paperwork. I'll be back to welcome these pastoralists in. And maybe fund an expedition. And while we still await for the day to go to war. I'm just going to be there, too. I don't know what I'll do over there when I attend a coronation ceremony of Sultan Abdab. Which is not the man that I remember. Because I recall there was a previous ruler. What happened to the other person? Or is that the same you? Or who was that guy that was of Flemian origin? Agron, yeah, that was his name. Yeah, Agron was his name. Died, he drowned. I'm shocked. So that was him. He was a good man, but he's gone suddenly. And some of his children are Muslim, but only some of them are still Mandulists. Should anything happen to him, kingdom will be pagan again. But again, we'll go do all that in the next episode and more. And as well as to begin preparations for a possible offensive to Makuria and Alodia. And as well as at least a war or two to gain the areas that was lost to them, that is still majority Nubian and Coptic. So a bit of conquest and liberation. And maybe we could try to get these trouble in, as they do hold lands that is Alodia. And then maybe under my rule, within the next 18 years, unite the Nubian thrones. Because there will be major changes coming when that time comes. And as well as that idea of the possibility of Nubianization subsequently. So, the new era is on the horizon, but it's still far from it. Because you're going to see little Nobadia become a major power in Eastern Africa in the future. But we'll see it in the next one. But until then, so long for now.